Yesterday I redrew this because it was raining and I couldn't spray it, so I redrew it first. And then this morning I took it out and sprayed it. And now I'm ready to start my second time over. And I'm just going to start with the sky because I can see that's too dark and muddy. And I did not put my pastels away yesterday. I think that's a better plan. Don't leave them all out. Okay, so that's all the sky I have. So I think that's good. I just gonna work on the. Actually, I think. And look at that tiniest piece ever. I have a blue. All right, and then I'm gonna see if I can make this roof better. Try to make it look like the sun is hitting, and then the other roof is at a slightly different angle, so it's not as bright. Not nearly as bright, actually. And that is too bright. And that's probably too blue because it needs to have some feeling of warmth because it is catching the sun up there. So I'm just going to try a little sort of a yellow ochre thing. So maybe that'd be okay for the minute. I guess I'm going to keep working on the house. I think I'm going to just need to use some white now because otherwise I've just got a pink house. Pretty sure that's actually a very light yellow, but that's okay. I'm having to do a little drawing while I'm painting too. Okay, that looks more like a White House. Wow, there's so many, there's a lot of levels here. All right, so. So I redrew this when I was sitting directly in front of it because it just wasn't drawn right, and the lines weren't straight. And I realized when I sat down right in front of it that another big problem I had was I'd spent a lot of time trying to get my camera lined up, you know, parallel and perpendicular to the paper, to my paper here, but I had not spent any time, or I'd forgotten to make sure that my paper was straight on the board. So my paper was a little tipped, and what that does is it makes you draw your vertical lines tipped also. So it's really important that your paper be straight on your board. That I suppose really is a violet, but it looks so gray when I put it up there. Okay, so all right, well, actually I just think I'll keep doing it. So anyway, if you're doing buildings, I mean, probably any time it's a good idea to have try to have your paper as straight to your board as you can, but especially when you're doing buildings, because otherwise you'll be influenced by the crookedness. Whoops, I don't want you. And you'll end up with, your vertical lines won't be truly vertical. And then, like, you might not notice that until, oh, shoot, you get ready to put it in a frame. Yay, got it. Till you get ready to put it in a frame, and then suddenly your vertical lines don't look vertical compared to your frame, and that's not that funny. Especially if you don't notice it until it's all framed and hanging on the wall, and then you go like, oh, no. And then you have to unframe it, which is like my least favorite thing in this world, to have to unframe something. I just can't get that window kind of right. I truly anticipate I'll need to redraw this again and, you know, sit in front of it and redraw it. Yeah, this, I'm just going to make that go right off the edge there. Like the other one down below. See, these lines do not quite look right yet, but okay. But we're just moving on. And trying to show a little bit the plane changes in the shadow too, by using different colors. Yeah, that is not actually dark enough. That is probably too dark. Honestly, sometimes I'm more concerned about getting the right value than the right color, especially in those darks. But that doesn't look right either, so I'm going to try. Let's see, what are you? Gray. Try that gray again over that violet and see if that's... Okay, I sort of feel like, okay, I just don't want this to be so bad up here that that's all you can notice is how badly I drew the house. Mostly I just want it to be a background for the flowers and all. Okay, so... So I have kind of a conundrum here. So thrilled I get to use that word. But I want to be sure I have what's behind the Forsythia, but I also don't want to have to put Forsythia colors on top of these dark colors. So yeah, anyway, so that's the problem. That's why, you know, oil painting is so lovely, because you could paint that whole background in, let it dry, and then paint the Forsythia on top. I think I'm going to draw in a little bit of the trunk here to try to give myself some feeling about where to hang the leaves and flowers off of. And I'm drawing with charcoal because that I can easily cover it up. So when I look at the photograph, there's this line and this line. They're very parallel to each other, but I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to change the angle. And I'm not trying to draw all the tree limbs, but I am looking at specific ones as I draw. So I'm not just kind of randomly doing it. I'm looking. And I'm just trying to, where things are just, I think, a little too much the same, I'm trying to break it up some. Like maybe not making all these start at exactly the same distance across there. All right, so this comes way from here. All right, well that seems like enough for a start. All right, now the yellows. I just think this is maybe one of the hardest things I've ever tried to paint, this Forsythia. It's such a delicate little thing, and I'm being a little bit careful, which I kind of hate to be careful. This pastel. This is, well, it's not this from this box, but it's a Great American. So when you have a painting that has many of the same colors in it, like the yellow of the Forsythia and the yellow of the daffodils, like it creates a different kind of problem, which is that you're trying to make the subtle differences between those colors that are the same to each other. So you have to be more specific in your yellows when you have different kinds of yellows. So I took some pictures the other day of white trees in front of white houses because I thought, you know, that would be something I would like to see if I could do, make the difference between the white house and the white tree. Yeah, so that's one way to get better at color, actually, is to set things up for yourself in a still life or whatever, where you have a lot of objects that are very similar in color, and then try to make the subtle differences between them. So I'm still feeling like I want to use some more green in the shadow of this tree, of the Forsythia. So I'm just going to start with that. And I do keep calling it a Forsythia, but I try not to think like, oh my God, I have to make it look like a Forsythia. It's more about what are the kind of specific shapes that it has. So in a weird way, naming things. And then when you name something, then you can also say to yourself, oh my God, I cannot draw a Forsythia. But what you can draw is little patterns of light and shadow. And that you can draw because you've drawn it in every painting you've ever done. All right, and I think there maybe is some orange in the shadow too. So I don't know quite. I'll just try this for now. I do think yellow in shadow is one of the hardest colors to get because yellow is so much associated with light, with sunlight. So you can't just do light yellow and dark yellow, or it'll just look like the whole thing is in sunlight. So you need some sort of combo of colors. You see, like right there, that orange is too much all by itself. All right, what else? That's a slightly different orange. Let's see what that'll do. Yeah, that's too much, I think. Too much in the orange family. I'm just going to do it a little bit. Maybe not as much, but some places. If you can treat everything like an experiment, you know, like you're a scientist, and you're just trying stuff, and you're going to learn as much from the things you try that don't work out as from the things you try that do work out. And then that kind of gives you a little more freedom to not be so anxious. Yeah, I don't like that color, so I'll get rid of you. It's a very interesting yellow. It's such a cool, cool yellow. So I'll try a little pink in it, maybe. Also, I'm on the verge of working on this whole area too long now, because you want to be sure you work on everywhere so you can keep your relationships going between your colors, and you're not just copying one thing at a time. So I thought maybe it might help me to have a little more of this down here so I could compare it to those daffodils when I get to it. Okay, and just going to use some purple in the shadows of the tree. Just going to try it. Not that one, because that one's hard as rock. Or maybe just too hard to go down now. I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly which fixative I used on this. Things are messed up in my life with fixative right now. But when I go back outside to spray it again, I'll bring the can in so I can show you. I think it's the Sennelier fixative I used. All right, so that seems a little better. The orange is still there, but it's not quite so brassy. Okay, so now these daffodils. So these ones that are kind of close to me, I was thinking I would try to actually just do a tiny bit of drawing. And I just found the perfect little yellow here for doing a little drawing. We were talking about this in class last night. It's like, the pastel pencils. You know, I would like them to work, but I guess I just don't have enough colors, or I don't know. They just never quite work for me, so I just use my pastels. And I guess if the time comes I can't do tiny details, then I just won't do tiny details anymore. How's that sound for a plan? And who knows, maybe this is a bad idea right now, I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to bring my greens up around that one. And I want to do just a couple more. And then if all else fails, you just name the thing daffodils and forsythia. Or maybe you just name it spring flowers and let people decide what they want about it. Yellow flowers growing in the garden in spring, in masses, probably daffodils. Just don't think you should have to do all the work on the painting yourself. I think people should be able to use their imaginations a little bit. And honestly, I think it's that they'll enjoy your painting more if they've used their imagination to fill in the things that you've left kind of abstract. And I want to get a few of these white ones a little more. It's not like I'm hating doing this, but I'm not enjoying it in the way that I enjoy sort of just banging colors on there. And since I feel confident that I'm going to have to spray it again, maybe it's stupid to do it now. I just was in the mood for it. And I really think that it helps you to paint bouquets of flowers indoors too. And I wanted to see, I never tried to do this many daffodils. I just wanted to see if I could, if I could do what I'm talking about. Making some of them up front a little more distinct, and then the ones in the distance just a little more abstract. But you can see I just about lost interest now, so I'm having trouble settling down again. Okay, so that's good. You just work on that as long as you feel for it, and then you just do something else. Which in this case, that something else is going to be to put some other colors in. Oh yeah, and then we got tulips. Tulips are pretty easy because they're easier to draw. And again, I'm doing this now before I do the greens because I just don't feel convinced that I'll be able to make a strong enough colors on top of the greens. God, look at this thing. It just seemed right though. But that's the end of that. Oh, here's another little piece. Where did you come from? Nope. Okay, that was a super soft red. I'm having a little trouble getting anything to go down actually on the reds. Maybe I didn't spray it enough down here. It's kind of raining, so I was kind of in a hurry. Okay, and now those dang yellow flowers. Oh yeah, and this was that red paper, so I guess that could be. Usually it seems like to me I have the most trouble with whatever color is most like the paper, and that would be those red tulips. And this yellow is just a little, it's just a little funny texture. It's just a little too buttery or something. But it just seemed like the right color. But I'm not loving the texture. It's just gummy. It's a little gummy. Golly, those shadows look so green. But maybe I could try putting a little yellow back into them. It's, like I said, it's really tricky with yellow, and you don't want your shadows to look like somebody painted your yellow tree green in the shadow. All right, so let's work on these bushes here. Yeah, that does not want to go down, that dark blue. I'm just trying to see if I can create some leaf shapes along the edge by cutting in with a little bit of that bush. And now I just need to find some other greens. All right, somehow we've been talking a lot about new pastels, and oopsie, that's way too hard to use. So too hard to use a new pastel now. Some people were saying they really hated new pastels because they hadn't used them for a long time, but they probably never used them on this better paper. So if you have a bunch of new pastels, you might want to try them on the sanded paper and see what you think. But then we also ran across a kind of a color test. A guy took he put new pastels on a piece of paper, and then made marks on a piece of paper, and then he set them out outside for a few weeks, and he kind of kept track of what colors faded. And that, I don't know this for a fact, except just seeing what he did. But this idea that maybe less expensive colors fade more. If you go to the museum to see the Degas or something, they're in a pretty dark room, and there are no windows. So, if I wouldn't hang any painting in full sunlight, I guess. So I just couldn't make that. I just couldn't get that to look right. So I came back here with a few. This is going to be the end of that color right there. A few little yellow things to see if I could get the relationship between the bush and the bush that's back here. What colors are that bush, and make sure I could make the tree stand out on top of it. And this is Diane Townsend. It's a really nice bluish, greenish gray. God, just going nowhere here with this. All right, try again. I am just going to find a gray to work on that wall with. Yikes. And I think I'm going to draw in some, yeah, I think I'd like this if I could get this. I'm drawing in some of the trunks, or some of the, well, they're not trunks exactly, but whatever, limbs here. Let's see if I can show some of the, what are you? Okay, dark blue, I'm putting you way over there. And this is that gray. Look at this, all too much the same. So I just want to mention the Winsor Newton pastels again because they have such good yellows, but not the new ones. They used to make them, and then they quit making them for a while, and now they have these new ones out, and they just aren't as good as the ones they used to make. So I can't recommend them anymore. But if you could find a set of old Winsor Newtons on like eBay or something, I think they're really good pastels. And, you know, they're a little softer than the Rembrandts. And for me, I can't just use them because they're a little too soft. But they have beautiful blues and really nice yellows. And, you know, sometimes people do sell sets. They used to come in this beautiful box. I swear it looks like it should be your coffee table. It's such an incredible box. All right, so I'm just trying to get the color of that. Of those twigs. They're a little warm, so I put that little warm color in. And this is a pastel, this is a Rembrandt pastel, and I'm just catching the sharp edge to draw these in. Okay, so I need a little more light behind this bush. And I need a little darker green. Maybe some blue on that wall. Let's try that. All right, so I want to, oh, I never did do greens down here, so I better do that. I just don't have that right either. But. It's starting to get a little mushy down here. Okay. Okay, windows. Windows, window frames. Just remember, you are not an architect. Of course, unless you are. Oh, I know, I really wanted to make this, I wanted to show this change more with a color change from this front facing to this slightly side plane, and I did not do that. So I guess I'm going to show it with a little shadow. Okay, so this is at this angle, and this really goes downhill all of a sudden over there. So I'm really feeling like I'm just drawing here, not painting, but... Oh my gosh, here I had this plan. I was going to keep the dark blue over here in the corner where it would not get confused with that dark gray. But then that plan lasted literally a second. Okay, and I wanted to get the windows to have some reflections in them too, but oh my God, I'm just using the same blue for everything. All right, I definitely need some other colors in my white and shadow. I don't know what that would be. Okay, blue, you stay over there. Blue's to the right. I think that's a dark blue too. All right, What is this? Let's try this. This is a Diane Townsend. Oh, even darker. And really hard. It's a really hard one. So not all soft pastels you buy are actually soft. Oh my God, what am I going to do about those colors up there? God, I don't want to try green. Okay, pink. I'll try pink. Do I have a pink? Oh, you know what I'm going to try? If I can find it, is that Indian red color. Here it is, I think. I mean, white is another one of those colors. How would you make light white and dark white? Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I actually don't think this is that Indian red. It's funny, you wouldn't think that you'd need a bunch of the same colors to do a yellow tree in a white house, but I feel like I do. All right, and this is too much right there, like that, and then down. Yeah, because there's like yellow reflections up there. Let's see what this would do. It's kind of a grayish green. Oh, I think that's better. Wow, drawing issues here too. Done, done, done. Don't you hate it when you just keep asking yourself, whose idea was this? And really, you have no one to blame but yourself. All right, so now I'm really just going to try to work on the color of the windows. because I want to get some of the blue sky reflection in there, but I had to get rid of some of the other blue that was everywhere. God, what are you? Are you a purple? No, you're a blue, kind of. Probably the same blue I've been using everywhere. If you make your windows too just dark, they just look like the glass is broken out of them. So I always, even if I don't see it, I try to put some reflections in my windows. In this case, I do see them. Oh, I thought it made, oh, that kind of I don't mind. It's maybe a little too light, but I'll catch it next time. Okay, I think I have to spray it now. Oh, I kind of need to work right in there. Just make some decisions about what's bush and what's not. Okay, I'm going to bring the bush up a little. Holy cannoli. There's another one, and that's really that mushy. I don't know, I wish I knew what that was, because I don't like it. Yes, my tree needs to be more yellow. So that, oh, I can make it more yellow right now. Yeah, you don't usually hear me making these kind of little dots, but okay, so I'm ready to spray it.